3, 2, 1, action! Welcome to my office where I'll be going over the horror movies in my movie collection. I'm not a big fan of horror movies, but I do like violence. Identity, John Cusack, I like him, and he does a good job in this. It's a thriller slash horror. There's some horror elements in it, but it's not a dedicated horror movie. I just have it there because of the subject matter. It has a good cast of characters in it. They all interact together. Chiller night favorites, you've got The Last House on the Left, or My Soul to Take, Perfect Getaway. I didn't care about any of them other than A Perfect Getaway. I can't say anything about those, but A Perfect Getaway, I like the idea. Two people on vacation, horror happens. Swamp Thing, my all-time childhood hero. It's not a scary movie at all. As I grew up, I saw some cheesiness in it, but my attachment to him, it could be as cheesy as it can be, and I'll never not like Swamp Thing. They need to make a reboot movie in 2013 of Swamp Thing. Put it in 3D. Resident Evil. I bought this because I liked Resident Evil 4. 5's okay. 1, 2, and 3 I never played. But I bought this and I actually like this movie. I'm not a fan of zombies. I can't stand zombies. Good action, good violence. The cast is okay. I have 2 copies of the second one, which is Resident Evil Apocalypse. This one was okay, but not as good as the first one. This one started to get more into the game series where it had the Nemesis in it. The special effects were cheesy. There was a little bit of comedy in it. Some nude zombies walking around. I guess that could be comical. But it wasn't as good to me as the first one. And as the series keeps going and going, they slowly get worse and worse. Ghost Ship has one scene in it that won me over. And that's when the rope cuts everybody in half. I don't know how it missed the little girl because surely she was tall enough to be at someone's waist. But when those people got cut in half in the ship, it was great. Now I do like the almost Bermuda Triangle effect that this movie has, where you've got this ghost ship. It's haunted. You don't really know what's going on. But throughout the movie you get the backstory and you find out what it is. And I like at the end that it's a continuation. A lot of the horror movies make it like, okay, there's going to be a sequel, but this one didn't necessarily end with, okay, it's going to be a sequel. It's ending like you didn't really kill the source of the ghosts. And that's what I liked about this. The Thing, which is a remake of an earlier movie called The Thing, I wasn't a fan of either one. The first one is okay. I think it has a cult following. There really wasn't a need for a sequel. They follow each other closely. Special effects on both of them are just so-so. The horror is so-so. It's not something that's going to scare you, that make you have nightmares. Storyline is okay. Basically everybody dies. People that I thought wasn't going to die died in this movie. So that kind of threw me off. Sleepy Hollow, an outstanding Johnny Depp movie. Before he got corrupted with acting as Jack Sparrow in every movie he's been in. Basically it follows the story of Sleepy Hollow. I think he was a school teacher in the Disney one, but he's an inspector here. And he's investigating, and he goes in thinking there's no such thing as ghosts, there's no such thing as this headless horseman. Throughout the murders, throughout the movie, he runs into him, and he discovers what's going on. There's a witch involved with controlling him, trying to kill off everybody so she can inherit the family fortune. The Blade trilogy, I like vampires. Well, that's one of the things that I like about a vampire is your strength over normal humans. To me, the first one is the best in the series. The very end blob fight scene, I didn't care about. I wish there was a little bit more action as far as the fight scenes there. But the second one, they tried to introduce a new breed or species of vampires. It was a good addition because it gave it a true enemy. However, I never felt like there was a division between humans and vampires. They were hand in hand with each other on here. The whole League of Doom or whatever it was, that the team with Ron Perlman, I like those guys. They were good. As a matter of fact, if you watched Ip Man, Donnie Yen is the Oriental guy, or the samurai, whatever you want. He was in it. So he's badass. And finally you have this joke of a movie that has Dracula as the main villain, which I thought would be cool. But the way they portrayed Dracula was terrible. And it has Ryan Reynolds in it. Dude, all you are is Van Wilder. Stop acting in anything else. Just make the next 15 Van Wilder movies and retire. Underworld. Kate Beckinsale, vampire. Scott Speedman, Can't stand him. He needs to quit acting too. His blood is supposed to mix with vampires and werewolves, become the super species. Is Kate Beckinsale's character's love interest. He gets bitten by a werewolf. He gets bitten by a vampire. He becomes some mutated vampire wolf or something like that. Which the idea was he was supposed to be the super of the two. He ends up getting beat down, so Kate Beckinsale has to handle his work. Special effects are good. Acting is okay. Dog Soldiers, a werewolf movie made in England somewhere. So I appreciated it when I saw what they done with it, since they don't have the trillions of dollars they blow on American-made movies. They had a modest budget. They did a great job with the special effects for the werewolves. The sets were good. As a matter of fact, I liked it because the violence was good and they used real puppets instead of digital effects. So there was actually something on screen to see. In Skinwalkers, it was a gift. A guy who bought it said he didn't like it, so he gave it to me. Not something I'm going to watch. I'm going to wait for a rainy day. But there's no characters in it that I recognize. I mean, no actors that I recognize. An American Werewolf in Paris. This is my favorite werewolf movie. It is a love story underneath all the violence and transformation and all that stuff. But it's got comedy. It's got, like I said, love, so it's romantic. It has some good special effects in it. The cast is great. There's a Daredevil tour where people go to these clubs that are hosted by werewolves. They end up partying, getting drunk. Werewolves feed off of them. It just so happens that Tom Everett Scott character got bit by one. He becomes a werewolf. He sees some stupid, crazy things. There's some ghosts that haunt him, and thus some of the comic elements. But Bram Stoker's Dracula, outstanding vampire movie. I have not read the book. I do have it downloaded on my phone. The movie itself is outstanding. I can't see where the book is much better than this. However, it's a great movie. Anthony Hopkins, Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder. It's the story of Dracula, how he came to be, his tragedy of losing his love, his transformation into the character of Dracula, all the way up through his death by the hand of Harker. I do wish they would update this movie, maybe with some new special effects. Interview with the Vampire, another great vampire movie, and I'm a big fan of vampires. They're my favorite monster, as I've said before. Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, Antonio Banderas, outstanding vampire movie. From Hell, great movie. Johnny Depp, before he was corrupted with Jack Sparrow, he does some real good acting in here. There's some good detective work. It almost reminds me of a mature Sherlock Holmes movie. Basically, he's a detective following the trail of bodies left by Jack the Ripper. Real good violence in it. Good movie. Makes you think throughout the entire time. Comes to the end. You never suspect who it is. Dark Shadows. More vampires. Barnabas. Great little mini-series. Came on during the 90s. I hate that it ended. I wish they would have kept going. Or followed the series that was the 50s, I think. I don't know. They started out being in black and white, and then as they went on, they went into color. But this is a remake of that series. And it did great. I liked it. The Twilight series. I don't own these. My girlfriend has them. They're over here because we was watching them. I've seen the first two and second half of the last movie. They're okay. If you're looking for vampires that stand out from humanity, these are not the vampires. These are more of the vampires that blend in. They're not traditional. They don't have the cape. They don't walk around with their fangs out. They do have mystical power. They do glitter. They are separate from humans, but it's almost no division if you're looking at them because they can be out during the daylight. And you've got the introduction of werewolves in here, so it seems like werewolves and vampires go hand to hand in modern day things. If you're looking for a love story, this is a good thing. It's a real deep-rooted love story. I've watched them. I've enjoyed the two that I've watched. I'm going to finish watching the other ones. True Blood. This is what the Twilight series should be like. Maybe not as long, but this is a great series of vampire dramas. Violence, language, nudity, all of it's good and graphic. This is season 1, box set, True Blood. Open it up. You see the characters from the show on it. Still see the characters. And you've got the flaps on either side that tells you the episodes. And if you turn it around, you've got all 5 discs of Season 1 of True Blood. And time for a Coke break. Nothing better. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I didn't offend anybody. These are my views, my opinions on the movies that I have. There's a lot more out there that I want to get. There's a lot more that I like, I just don't own right now. Please subscribe. Thank you. 3, 2, 1, action! So let's jump into it. I think the last house on the left, the last house on the right, all the other variations of this movie series have just been beaten into the ground. Oh, I forgot to say that wannabe wrestlers are in this movie too. So basically, if you get a good movie and you water it down, then you get crap people in it. The downside of vampires.